This is our Music Oddcast. I'm Olivia.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Jay again. Well, I'm always Jay, but I'm back.
Yeah. Second episode with Jay.
Yeah, and you're going to be hearing a lot more from him because on off weeks in between our regular Oddcast recordings, we're going to be doing something a little different where we discuss songs, like one specific song, and it's going to usually have strange lyrics or have a really funny story behind it. And we're going to start this off with I Am the Walrus by the Beatles.
Yeah, so let's talk about synchronicity, and I'm not talking about a Police album.
That's synchronicity, but yes.
Is it?
I think you said synchronicity.
Synchronicity. I don't know words all the time.
Yeah.
Also, my brain, I'm hoping, turns on now because I've been doing all kinds of...
Now would be a great
my
time.
My day has been going super weird, and it's because my brain... I woke up, my brain was like, nope. But so I do this thing where I watch The Simpsons. I'm a huge Simpsons fan, but I decided to start watching them because they're on Disney Plus, and I've decided that I'll just, watch an episode a day, and then one day I'll die because
There's 4,000
because there's more episodes than I have years left. That's
days, yeah, for sure.
in case you didn't get what I was implying. And I watched 2 episodes today, and the first one, there's a scene where they're at an aquarium or something, and they're one of the animals that they show is a walrus. And then the next episode, Bart and Milhouse break into Flanders' house. They find out he's a Beatles fan, and he's got all this memorabilia, and they have like how Beatles put their name on everything back then. So there's like these novelty drinks, and they decide to drink them, and it makes them hallucinate. And Bart quotes, I am the walrus, specifically yellow matter custard dripping from a dead dog's eye. So that's weird.
So
That
now
is
we're
weird.
here, and it's supposed to be happening, I think.
Yeah.
Is that a sign that we're supposed to do this? Or
Maybe.
I mean, it happens to me so often that I don't know.
It's weird when that happens.
It happens
I always
to
get
me
kind of excited.
a lot. I get
Yeah.
freaked out just because of how often it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I assume everything is a sign that I'm not long for this world. The earth is just going to swallow me whole and then spit me out because I probably don't taste very good.
Okay, so what I thought we would do, we're going to go through the lyrics, and you guys are going to try to guess what John Lennon's trying to say, because he specifically wrote this song. He wrote the lyrics.
Yeah.
McCartney helped with the music. But then I will tell, or give you guys information about, that I found about the song and about the writing process. But first, I do want to talk a little bit about the song. It's a B-side for single Hello Goodbye. It's on the TV, film, and soundtrack for Magical Mystery Tour. The script for the film was conceptualized and written by Paul McCartney on a pie chart. I don't know if you guys saw that at all or if you guys have ever looked into it. Yeah, it's a pie chart, and it's his plan for the script. And he has, instead of making like a list with numbers, he made the pie chart, and then it has numbered
That's
sections.
interesting because I've never seen it, but someone was telling me there's a thing about like Gorillaz, the band, and Damon, and they were describing Damon Albarn doing something similar to that.
That's weird. I kind of want to know what it is now.
Yeah.
Huh.
I like him.
That's news to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a delightful, crazy person.
he is. He really is. So this pie chart's divided into 8 segments, and it's the whole plan for the film. The first is number 1 is commercial introduction, get on coach, and then Courier introduces. 2, coach people meet each other. Song Fool on the Hill, question marks, probably just thinking, should I not use that? Then 3, marathon laboratory sequence. 4, smiling face, and then like lunch in capital letters. Mangoes, tropical, and then it says magician.
Yeah.
5 and 6,
Just random words here.
dreams.
I'm just going to point out we talked about magicians the last time I was here, too.
That's true.
We did.
And then 7, stripper and band, and 8, song end, and ends in capital. A lot of the script was improvised. They didn't really have anything other than that.
Have you ever seen
That's
it?
all they had.
Have you ever seen it? I haven't seen it in a while.
I tried to find it.
But I remember
We
it's
watched it like
not
years ago.
really worth watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to,
It's
but
no Hard Day's Night. Hard Day's
Yeah.
Night is actually a good movie. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, Magical Mystery Tour is a little like, why did
Crazy.
you do this?
Yeah, it was
don't
during
know.
like the beginning of their experimental phase.
You know what's really weird? I also think that Viv Stanchel is in Magical Mystery Tour on the bus, which I guess would be referred to as a coach, which I was talking about him last week too.
Oh, that is random.
I think he wears a shirt that says Sack John because him and John Lennon didn't really get along.
oh,
I might have made that up too, though. So someone can fact check and then tell me I'm wrong on the internet.
Yeah.
And then I'll never know because I don't care.
I'll know. Yeah, it was filmed at RAF West Malling, and it's a decommissioned military airfield near Kent, which means nothing to me, but maybe you guys, you've been.
I've been to England a few times, but I don't
Yeah.
know where Kent is.
Kent,
I'm going
yeah.
to guess it's not far outside London, but I don't
It
know.
sounded like it wasn't, but
We live in a world of Google
it
Maps.
was like during
but I'm
cursory
not gonna
research, it
bother.
didn't sound. Yeah.
Do we have access to? We don't have access to every country like Google Maps of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
we
do.
do.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because I thought they shut some of that down because terrorists were like plotting
Oh,
and using maps of
maybe.
Google Earth maps and things like that to.
Okay.
That doesn't matter. That's another story.
Just one thing I have to say. I was reading the story online about how this person looked up their like childhood home on Google Maps, and it was 5 years after their parents like both died, and it still showed a photo of their like parents sitting on the porch.
He was
like, just
mad because they
hanging
should
out.
have updated it.
Yeah, I don't know how you'd feel about that. It could be kind
I
of
don't know.
eerie, or it could be kind of comforting. I don't know. But anyway, there were no featured roles to fill. They just hired people for their faces. They said they wanted eccentrics, as they put it. John did insist on hiring old-style music hall comedian Nat Jackley and Vic Spiretti, who appeared in their other films. And then Paul designed the logo for the bus. There's two vehicles, at least I think they're both in it, that are painted with, the psychedelic imagery. But yeah, and I guess they like kind of slacked on booking studio time, like in a studio for like filming, not to record the sound. And they couldn't get anywhere. They couldn't get in anywhere because they were filming, Kubrick was filming 2001 Space Odyssey and had
And the
booked a
moon
bunch of the
landing,
studios.
You mean the Beatles couldn't like throw some weight around and get?
I know,
it was
you think
like,
so.
If anybody could get anything, it would be the Beatles, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they can't break contracts just because the Beatles didn't,
Yeah.
prepare. I also
That's
think
true.
that Paul McCartney has a long history of shit
Do you
like
think
that.
they would have like
Oh,
maybe
okay.
built a studio
He
for the
doesn't-
Beatles? Oh, you get a
Yeah.
studio? Oh, we're
Yeah,
going to build
maybe.
one in 4 days. Here we
Maybe.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean,
maybe.
since none of their movies are really successful, maybe not.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, McCartney's
like,
got
we
like
lose
a
money.
thing where he's just like flying by the seat of his pants all the time. Like,
Oh, okay.
I read a book about him called "Man on the Run," and it's about him from the breakup of the Beatles through the decade the 70s, and like they recorded "Band on the Run" in I don't remember what African country.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he was like, oh, let's go somewhere weird, and they didn't do any research, and it was like monsoon season.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And it was also not like the safest place in the world because Paul and Linda almost got murdered. They got like held up at knife point, and when they
Oh my
reported
gosh.
it to the police said that the only reason they didn't kill you is because you're white.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
And that would have caused too many questions. Like that's the
Yeah.
only reason you're still alive right now.
Wow.
Sounds plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just doesn't think stuff through very often. He's more of like a big picture person, and details are not his thing.
Yeah.
I guess is the polite way to put that.
Luckily, he's famous because that tends to work out for famous people.
Yeah.
Because they have like tons of people that will make stuff happen.
Well, and he's been famous since he was a teenager.
I
Like if he had
know.
had to
He was
live
really
real
teenager.
life, he may have been different, but
Yeah.
he didn't. So
Do you guys know what a mellotron is?
yes,
What is it?
it's like a keyboard type thing, but it emulates like a flute. It could also do like it could do a couple things. I believe it was like an early version of like a synthesizer. Well,
Okay.
but I think it was tape based, so it actually had like a physical recording of like whatever you were trying to do,
Okay.
and it's a keyboard based instrument.
Yeah.
Yep.
During the recording of the song, they used a mellotron. They experimented with it. They had 8 violins, 3 cellos, 3 horns, a clarinet, a choir called the Mike Sam Singers, and oddly, you'll hear at the end, or I don't know if everybody already knew this, but there's a BBC production of King Lear playing in the background that John just happened to like flip on the radio during recording and say like, "Hey,
No,
that was
I
cool."
had just learned that today when
Okay.
we were looking at that video.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Okay, so let's get started. Do you guys want me to read the lyrics?
Well, I'm illiterate.
Okay.
I think we talked about that last time too.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with that story.
Yeah, so we'll
But I do know the words to the song.
yeah. So we'll just go, we'll go through a paragraph at a time.
Okay.
So beginning with, I am he, as you are me, and we are all together. See how they run like pigs from a gun. See how they fly. I'm crying.
So we're supposed to interpret that?
Yeah, or just
on the
anything that comes
surface,
to mind.
It looks like just random gibberish.
Yeah.
I think the
Really deep thinking.
well, the first line could be interpreted as really deep thinking.
Yeah.
Because it could be like the whole getting into the India Maharishi thing and how the universe
Right.
is all one.
The oneness.
But also it could just be a man writing words
Yeah.
randomly onto a page.
And what really happened here, the first 2 lines, which the I am he, as you are me, and we are all together, was from an acid trip that John took one weekend. He, just was writing lyrics while he was tripping. And then the second part, see how they run like pigs from a gun, see how they fly, I'm crying, was from the next weekend when he did the same thing and tripped the following weekend.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah,
wonder
he
if he
talks
was-
about
had
it
a
in a
little different
Playboy
trip the
interview from
second time,
1980.
Yeah, I wonder if he was anywhere near any cops.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, that's-
Yeah, 'cause
Run
Song.
like pigs from a gun.
But
yeah.
although I also don't know if that is an expression in England like it is here.
Right.
Or was. No one calls cops pigs anymore except for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you would any American would know that's a
Yeah.
slang term for
Yeah.
cop. But I don't. Yeah, you're right. That might not be a thing.
I have no idea.
But then you also do kind of think of, maybe I'm crazy, but like, you think farm animals would run from the sound of like a gunshot or something
True.
loud. So maybe it's not even anything to do with the police there.
Yeah, true.
It might have.
It
no
could
police
also be
reference.
like he doesn't know how slaughterhouses work and he thinks they shoot pigs.
Yeah. That's true.
And then see how they fly. It could be a reference to the expression when pigs fly,
yeah.
which only happens when they're shot out of cannons, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Or, on a commercial flight.
Yeah.
I mean, later, and this is after that, but Pink Floyd had the flying pig thing.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
true.
if they got that from that.
Which, back to The Simpsons, Peter Frampton bought at their yard sale, and then Cypress Hill used it. Deep cuts on The Simpsons here today.
Yeah. Okay, so next part, sitting on a cornflake, waiting for the van to come, corporation t-shirt, stupid bloody Tuesday, man, you've been a naughty boy, you let your face grow long.
I have no guess for sitting on a cornflake.
Yeah.
Like,
What could
unless like the only thing that I could think of would be like, are you tripping again?
Yeah.
But this time it's mushrooms and it's like Alice. How
I'm
Alice
so
and
big
Alice in
and small
Wonderland
at the same
shrunk.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do know. I'm pretty sure he had an affinity for cornflakes
Okay.
and cream or something.
Just
like
on
that.
his mind.
Because I read
spit
a
it out,
book once called Cornflakes with John Lennon and Other Rock and Roll Stories or something
Yeah.
like that,
Okay.
written by a dude who used to work for Rolling Stone, and he explains the title. Apparently, that was like a thing with John Lennon because when he was a kid, they always wanted cream and they couldn't afford it or whatever.
Oh.
So that was like his favorite snack or something like that. I don't know, waiting for the van to come. Are we kidnapping people? I don't know.
That's what comes to mind, yeah, for sure.
corporation T-shirt literally just sounds like someone making like words that like fit a meter.
Yes.
Like as poetry.
Just syllable.
But it also could be like someone was wearing a Pepsi Cola T-shirt and he was like corporation T-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, nobody likes Tuesdays, so stupid.
They're
bloody
not
Tuesday.
as bad as Mondays, but
Listen,
like the
Garfield.
second worst day of the week. I know.
Man, you've been a naughty boy. You let your face grow long. I would assume that's a reference to one of two things. If it's actually a reference to anything, is either you've got a long beard and people like that was the time when men started growing beards, where like that wasn't a thing. Basically, I think in the 60s and 70s, typically only gay dudes had facial hair.
Oh,
At least in the United States, like
a pencil thin mustache.
A pencil, like for some reason, like all men were clean shaven, at least in the United States.
Rock Hudson, clean shaved.
Well, he was hiding in plain sight. But yeah, so it would be like you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought when reading that, you let your face grow long, I almost thought he was maybe talking about sadness.
Well, that
say
was-
like, why
that
the
was
long
what
face?
came to my
That would be
mind,
the other one.
but-
Yeah.
That said two things. That was the other one.
Okay.
I just trailed off because I forgot that I said two things. I told you my brain's not working today.
Well, you recovered quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd picture his mom in his head maybe yelling at him, and he just gets sad about it. But I don't know why I picture that. It's just...
Or Mimi, because wasn't he not
Yeah,
really
there's his
raised by
aunts.
his mom?
Or yeah, his mother figure. But
Yeah, and then there's not a lot on why, like, this specific section, but I did find out that he'd really written 3 separate songs and then tied them all together for this project. So he didn't really like finish any of them. And this was one of the sections. It was, and the whole idea was the whole sitting on a cornflake. So that was one of these separate songs. And then there's themes for the other ones that we'll talk about as we go on a little further.
Yeah, I
Okay.
do that all the time.
Yeah.
I got 2 songs. Neither one of these is
2
long
half
enough.
finished
Yeah.
equals 1 full finished.
Basically, if they're
Yeah.
in the same key or easily modulated to one another.
Paul McCartney
Yeah.
was the master of that. He is
The whole
master.
every one of his hits in the 70s is 3 or 4 songs smashed together.
Band on the Run
Okay.
is just like it's separate song, and they don't even cut them. They just like splice them together almost.
Yeah, the one that I think is the most obvious is the Admiral Halsey one.
Oh yeah,
Because like it's very clear, like the
from
lyrics
Ran,
have
yeah.
nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
and there's like it's very clear he wrote these tiny parts and then figured out because
but it magically works
I want to
every
use this,
time he
but
does
I don't
it.
know where. Yeah.
basically, yeah, like the thing, like the very beginning, it's Uncle Albert. That's Uncle Albert. Very clearly, he had no idea how to end it.
Yeah.
Like because it just kind of goes on and then it goes into like the hands across the water part, and it's like, yeah, you just did like I write songs. You didn't know how to end that song. Like, I get it. I've been there. Not on the level you are, but like I've been there.
Yeah. Okay, so then we're at I Am the Eggman, They're the Eggman, I Am the Walrus, Goo Goo Gajoop.
I think it's just nonsense, like a children's book, like Hickory Dickory Dock. The mouse went up the clock. It's just nonsense, but in a good way, like in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But this is the first mention of I Am the Walrus too.
Yes.
yeah, I actually know what the walrus thing is.
Okay.
Or what
Right.
it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Okay, so it's from the Lewis Carroll poem,
Yeah.
The Walrus and the Carpenter. And many of us have actually seen Alice in Wonderland, which shows Tweedledee and Tweedledum actually telling this to Alice and acting, it's acted out. And then this part I thought was hilarious. So the Eggman, that whole part it's about an orgy that John attended with somebody named Eric Burden. I don't know.
The dude from the Animals.
Maybe the name didn't stand out to me, but Eric
I think
Burden.
he was in the Animals.
Okay, but he
That
called.
name does sound familiar.
Yeah, he was
Now that you
called
mention
the Eggman because during said orgy he would break raw eggs on women.
Oh, that's
Strange.
why.
Yeah, I know.
Like, why bring salmonella into this? Like, you're having a good time. this
Dirty,
lady's
dirty.
allowing you to be intimate with her.
Maybe his kink is
Yeah.
I want to I really like breaking eggs and I want to break eggs while I do it.
That's so
People are just so weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
that
yeah,
it could
and
be so much worse.
And famous people get like real weird sometimes.
No.
I think he was from the Animals. The
Okay.
band. I don't know what he did. He might have been the singer.
he might have been.
If so, he's an incredible singer. Because
Yeah.
I've seen him perform in like videos. I saw this video where it was like a bunch of British bands for like I think the Beatles actually played at this show, and it was back when a show was like 14 bands playing 3 minutes each or whatever.
Yeah.
Or they played like 2 or 3
Two
songs.
songs, yeah.
And like a couple of the bands were terrible, and then or not terrible, but then the Animals came on, and just the dude singing. Or was it the Zombies? Now I feel bad because I might be wrong. It's one of those bands, but I think it was the Animal. And this, like, you're just like, this guy is
killed
hands
it.
down so much more talented than anyone you just saw, and anyone else in the band. Like, he's just
Yeah.
like into it and like killing it with singing. So I'm gonna say it's that guy. Again, I'm probably wrong, and you guys can tell Olivia on the internet.
Yes.
And then I'll never know because again, don't care. I like to make things up.
Yeah. Oh, and Jay, I thought that you might remember this part, but talking about the poem, The Walrus and the Carpenter. Do you remember on Dogma when
Yes.
Matt Damon's character Loki?
It's actually one of my favorite parts of that movie.
Yeah.
And I was going to bring that up because I love how, he's talking to the nun.
Yeah.
And he's saying that the walrus and the carpenter, you don't believe in God? So let me get this straight. You don't believe in God because of Alice in Wonderland? No, through the looking glass.
Yeah.
the poem, The Walrus and the Carpenter.
Yeah, and he says Buddha is the walrus.
Yeah, the
and-
walrus is fat. And it's got tusks, so it's fat would reference Buddha, and the tusks could be Ganesha. So you've got your Eastern religions covered, and then the carpenter is clearly
Jesus.
a reference
Yeah.
to Jesus, and he
Yeah.
claims it's an indictment of organized religion. And he's
Yeah.
like, "What did they do? What did they do?
It's kind of a
they
stretch,
dupe
but-
and devour the oysters."
Yeah.
And he says, like, basically that like you shouldn't following organized religion makes you get lost or something like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't remember the exact.
Yeah, I don't either.
At one point, I could have told you that whole scene by heart, but
Yeah.
I can't anymore. I failed.
And then the gajoob part, I can't even talk.
Well, those aren't words.
Yeah,
so-
I was thinking that maybe that was
Noises.
supposed to be like walrus noises. And I listened to about a 4-minute video of
I
walrus
listened
noises.
to a 4-hour video. trying
They
to
were
pick
all
out-
strange. Like they make like a growling noise, which is pretty
Yeah.
normal, and like a trumpet noise. And then there's like, can we play it on the podcast, or will they take it down? Because I saved it.
Oh,
There's
I
like
don't
one
know.
part where it gets like real wild. And
One part of what?
oh shit, that didn't save my part.
Play it, and then Jay and I will imitate it as best we can. No.
Okay, I had a part saved, and of course, like it didn't keep. Oh, and it just like went nuts. Hold on. It's just.
That is terrifying.
That's the real noise it makes?
Yeah, I want to get to the fun part.
They are giant beasts.
Goo. Goo. Goo.
It could. Yeah.
That's terrifying. Sounds like something from Star Wars.
That's the crazy part where it's like going nuts.
I think it's literally just
Nonsense.
Him just like needing syllables to fit the melody, and just instead of even bothering with words.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because the whole point of this song, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of what you have planned, but wasn't the whole point of this like he thought people were looking too much into the lyrics, so he was like, "Well, fuck you."
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I'm gonna do
really
this.
what it,
Yeah.
he said. Because he was like, let those fuckers try to figure this out.
Yeah.
Okay, so next, Mr. City Policeman sitting, pretty little policeman in a row. See how they fly like Lucy in the sky. See how they run. I'm crying 4 times. I'm not gonna
Okay,
say-
see, that would back up my idea that the first the pig reference is policeman because
Yeah.
they're both flying in this.
That's true.
That's all I got. And just I like when, because it's not the only time the Beatles reference other Beatles songs.
Yeah.
In fact, I Am the Walrus is mentioned in Glass Onion. And I think when he says the walrus was Paul, I always assumed that was a reference to the photo on the cover.
Yeah.
Because I think he's wearing
It
I
is.
think Paul is wearing a.
He's the
well,
guy
that's the rumor,
sitting
right?
on.
Yeah.
He has a like. Has he changed masks? He's the walrus sitting on the wall because they have a guy sitting in a walrus costume, and that actually was Paul. But then when he's playing, it almost looks like he maybe has like a hippo mask on instead. I don't know if you noticed the change. And I watched it a couple times to make sure that maybe it didn't change, but it doesn't have the tusks.
Interesting.
It has like horns instead. It's weird.
I wonder if there was like a logistical reason for that.
Maybe.
Like he was just like,
I can't
these
breathe in this thing.
Yeah.
Or like the tusks are getting in the way. Like,
You stabbed 4 people with the tusks, man.
When he
I don't know how
originally
walruses play music. They don't. They don't.
when he originally wrote the song, he was supposed to be the walrus, but then later on, in White Onion on the White Album,
Yeah.
he says that
Yeah.
it was always Paul. But
Isn't it at the end of Strawberry Fields? It's real faint. At the end, there's like a very faint. Someone says, Paul is the walrus," or "I am the walrus."
I think you're right.
Well,
I can't remember what song.
It
Strawberry
might not
Fields
be
would have
Strawberry
come out
Fields.
before this, I think.
It's one,
Or maybe it's around the same
Or
time.
maybe it was on the White
It's-
Album.
It's on one of the songs. I don't
There's
remember
one
which
song
one.
that's very faint at the very end. If you crank it up, you can hear.
Well, in Glass Onion, it's like part of the verses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like the absolute lyrics. Yeah.
And also, Paul's dead. But
Yeah, when we talk about, we'll eventually talk about, was Paul McCartney replaced, but not this
How many
episode.
times was he replaced? That's the question.
That's true.
18.
That's it.
That I know of. For sure.
That we can prove.
That I can prove. That's what's this we stuff?
So this part, John, this is one of his, the songs that he wrote separately that he mixed together. He was listening to a police siren, or it could have been just like a siren in general because it didn't really specify. But he was writing it to match like the rhythm of the police siren. So the Mr. City policeman, that's why he says it the way that he does when he's singing.
Which again, weirdly, would not register with Americans because their sirens are different.
Yeah, that's true. And then, referencing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, their other song, which is supposed to be
I heard
talking
police
about.
sirens on my way here.
Oh my
There's-
gosh.
I'm serious. There was some
Yeah.
cop came flying down the opposite direction on whatever road I was on.
Yeah. But that's supposed to be talking about LSD, right? The Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Well,
At least people say that.
people say
maybe.
that. John Lennon, I believe, always claimed that was a reference to a picture
That a little
was,
girl drew, right?
No, I think either Julian or Sean.
Okay,
I don't
that makes
know.
more sense.
I don't think
like it was Julian.
Sean wouldn't have been alive yet. I
Yeah,
don't think.
he wouldn't have. So
So-
it would have been Julian.
Yeah, like his school friend or something like that. And
Yeah.
he drew a picture of her in the sky, and then because older generations always want to assume everything younger generations are doing is evil. People like a lot of the adult people at the time hated the Beatles and
I
thought,
know.
like my grandmother to this day claims the Beatles are responsible for all drug use in like popular
Yeah.
music, and I'm like, that's ridiculous because it just is.
Yeah, a
And,
lot of
like-
people do think that.
And
though.
well, she mentions alcohol too, and I go, you know who Mozart was?
Yeah.
Because also that guy probably smoked opium if he had access to it.
Probably.
He seemed like what little I know of that guy. He was like one of those people that like whatever's floating by, I'm eating it. It's gonna get me fucked
It's in
up.
me.
Let's see what this does.
Okay, yellow matter custard dripping from a dead dog's eye. Crabalocker fishwife, pornographic priestess. Boy, you've been a naughty girl. You let your knickers down.
I think he's just taunting the audience, which is everyone. Just like,
Yeah.
try and figure this out. This is
Yeah, well,
risque.
I mean, the only one that makes the only line that could make any sense that I can interpret into something real would be the last one.
Right.
Could be referencing a lady giving it up to a young man.
Yeah.
And calling her naughty for
Yeah.
no really good reason, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
Did you guys get into Game of Thrones?
no.
At all?
I mean, we watched the whole thing.
I could never.
Yeah.
I can't get I every time I try, I watch like the first 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah.
And I just go, I don't care. Like it's well done.
Yeah.
I just don't care, and I can't like. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it because I know so many people that are like that show is so good, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I get it.
It's better if you start with the books because then it explains like the people and a lot of the background stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense because I have no reference as far as that's concerned. But
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. I don't think it's bad. I just don't care.
I
can't get into it.
I like the beginning of it. I definitely hated the ending, but I only knew what a fishwife was because of that, reading the books. I think they maybe briefly mention it in one of the episodes when Theon's like on a boat, but it's like kind of like the woman that you're with while you're like on a boat and
Mermaid?
sleeping with. It could be a mermaid or a siren. But I don't know
Definitely
what
a mermaid.
Crabalocker is.
We should have looked that up and tried to figure out what that was.
I mean,
I don't think that's anything. But the yellow matter custard dripping from a dead dog's eye is from a playground rhyme that he was reminded of when talking to writing partner and then ex-Quarrymen member Pete Shotton. I don't know if you guys know who he is.
No.
He wrote with Lennon a lot, and then he also when they recorded in Abbey's studio, he would like come in and play weird stuff sometimes. But yeah, he was in the Quarrymen. And John Lennon, who I don't know if everybody knows this, but he also had like major anger problems especially when he was younger.
Yeah, he might have killed Stu Sutcliffe.
Yeah. But he broke a washboard over Pete Shotton's head.
Yeah.
That's what
At
you
a
do when
party.
you have anger problems, right?
Oh, and Pete's wife was the nurse mentioned in Penny Lane.
Oh,
Kind of a fun fact.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. And
Oh, go ahead.
you might be going to say what I'm about to say. So,
I don't think so. Go ahead.
the thing about pornographic priestess.
Nope.
Them that got the song banned by the BBC.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I know stuff. It's weird.
Yeah, and when it repeats, we're not gonna analyze that again. So because it repeats the I am the
Real
Big
quick,
Man
in
of
case
the
anybody
Wars.
doesn't have any idea what I'm talking about with Stu Sutcliffe, he was one of the original members of the Beatles. I believe he was even with them in Hamburg.
Yeah.
And he was the bass player. And as we just discussed, John Lennon was prone to weird outbursts of violence. And apparently, like either a week or days before Stu Sutcliffe died of an aneurysm, John Lennon randomly beat the shit out of him.
Yeah,
So
bad.
like there is a chance that John Lennon killed Stu Sutcliffe, not on purpose, but
Right.
yeah, his weird outbursts. So, well, he didn't have parents. Every kid I know, every kid I've ever known, not everyone, but a lot of kids I know that like don't have one of their parents in their lives, or were boys at least, were usually violent. Like would get into fights all the time.
Yeah, or at least
So-
have like anger problems.
Yeah. So that's probably what explains that. But
Yeah. That, and I mean, his mom died. She was hit by a car, right?
Yeah.
That's super
I believe
sad.
so.
Okay. So sitting in an English garden, waiting for the sun. If the sun don't come, you get a tan from standing in the English rain.
I think that's like the most coherent.
Yeah.
It's almost poetry. It's just beautiful,
and it's
right?
kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a joke, and it's kind of funny. It's like it's not a bad joke.
Yeah. Yeah, and anybody have any guesses on other than that before I start talking?
Well, the fact that garden doesn't necessarily, again, it's American versus English. Is like garden doesn't necessarily, like I think most Americans think I've got a vegetable garden in my backyard, but what garden means to them is like your yard, back or front. It's not. It's like where if there's grass there, that's a garden.
Yeah.
To them.
Yeah, and he wrote this part because while he was hanging out in his garden, which he spent a lot of time there. And I mean, the part where if the sun don't come out, you get a tan. I just assume like an overcast day,
Which is a lot all the time in England.
I remember when we were all there because we all went on a trip, and we visited London and Liverpool, and then we also went to Ireland as well. But while we were there, I actually got burnt one day, which was funny because it rained so much and it wasn't sunny. It was so much colder than I expected when we were there, and it was July, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was midsummer. It was kind of chilly when we went out there.
Oh, it was so cold.
Yeah, they don't get.
Yeah.
Actually, they do now a little bit more because
I have heard that. I heard they had a really warm
Tell that
summer
to
last
Texas.
summer.
Yeah, like legitimately, up until recently, if it was like 80 degrees during the summertime, that would be sweltering.
Yeah.
Sweltering in England. I
Yeah.
can't talk words.
It was funny because when we went, I packed so much stuff because I wasn't sure what the weather would be like. I packed, like some t-shirts and some tank tops and shorts and pants and all kinds of stuff. And then I was so cold that I didn't bring like anything long sleeved or like a jacket. And I remember when we were waiting in line for like the Wimbledon tickets and we're in this field and it's really early. I think we got there at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
It
Didn't
was
we? Or like
chilly,
5:30.
yeah.
I don't remember when we got there, but
It was early.
I remember I bought this random like plastic blanket from somebody because it was, so you could sit on the grass if the grass was wet. And I wrapped up
hold
like
it
a
up in it,
burrito and like laid in the field for a couple hours.
I remember
So it was too cold to do anything.
It's literally all I remember about that.
Oh, because it
You guys got donuts. Also,
it was like little waffle pieces that
Yeah.
came with like Nutella, I think.
Yeah, I remember that. And I
Yeah.
remember I was thinking about bailing on the Wimbledon thing.
Yeah.
Because of how long the line was, and
Oh my
it was our
gosh.
last day in London, and I'm happy that I didn't.
I know, it was
Because
really,
I
really
actually
fun.
enjoyed it. I thought I know fuck all about tennis.
Yeah.
And I give less of a shit than that, but it was really interesting
It
to see
was.
it in real life. Like I'd go
And-
back.
Oh, I would totally go back.
Only this time I'd get really drunk and get kicked out.
Yeah.
Just start yelling at people.
They did have booze there.
They did.
Yeah, they got booze everywhere.
Yeah. I don't remember what I was going to say. It was something about that
The
field.
Wimbledon 8, that's what you were saying.
Oh, once they actually got the lines going.
Leave
Never
Oliver-
mind.
You guys
leave
can tell
Oliver
that,
Reed
but-
out of this. That'll take too long.
Yeah.
But the lines, once they opened up, like the box office went really fast. Just while we were waiting for that to happen, we were waiting in that
Yeah.
queue in that field. And that was like 3 hours, 4 hours.
I think in hindsight, we should have just come later and chanced it.
You never know.
We didn't know. Like
Well, that's why
I
we went
still
early.
would
I was
probably
like,
do
better
the
to go
same
early
thing.
and
Just
get in.
take like a
we
sweatshirt.
also went on a dry run and went to the wrong place because we wanted to make sure we didn't get
Well,
lost.
the GPS took us to where
That's right.
The GPS took us to Wimbledon Stadium, which is a dog track, because
That's right.
That's right.
I didn't know that
Nobody
that's
was mad, yeah.
Not what it was called. That it was called the All England something or
Wimbledon
other.
Tennis Club or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weirdest part about that.
The dog track's not far from the tennis courts.
It
so
wasn't far,
It was
but-
a walk. But
Yeah, but we also it was a good thing that we did that the day
like, this
before.
doesn't look
Were you
right.
getting ready to talk about the polite beggars on the trains? Or what were you going to say? Because you were like, about that.
I don't remember.
Okay, but I remember that we were pretty impressed because we were sitting on the train and there was like this nice dressed like young man
Oh, fuck that guy.
that handed out these like
asking
cards.
us for money. It was like,
Yeah,
you're
but he
dressed
was
better than
so-
all of us combined.
That's
He was
what I
so
said. I was
polite,
like,
and he
your
handed out
sneakers
these cards
cost
explaining, so he
more.
didn't actually like badger anybody
Oh,
or.
do you know why I think he did that?
Why?
I don't think he spoke English
Oh, that could be.
because he was, or he didn't speak it very well.
Yeah.
Because he did not look English. I could be racially profiling at that moment, but if I had to guess,
Maybe, like,
I would
Swedish?
say. I remember him being like a darker, like
Yeah. I
like
remember,
almost
like, a
looking,
little blonde
almost
kid.
looking.
You remember a blonde kid? I think it was
Yeah.
a dark.
Yeah, like almost Middle Eastern
Yeah,
looking
Middle
guy
Eastern.
who was
Oh.
dressed like what I would say
Can't trust you for a
like
I guess.
witness.
like a well, I'm just gonna alienate some people. Fuck it. Like a Persian shitbag would be what I would like.
Oh.
He was dressed like he was like.
You look like a Persian Mormon person to me.
Oh, okay. That's not a thing.
I know. Why?
Yeah, I apparently had a whole different experience.
Yeah, but because I distinctly remember he handed out the papers and it said like something about having a kid and not having any money and needing to feed it and I also had to sit there and be like, don't be an American right now. Don't be an American, because my whole thing is like, fuck you, dude. Again, your shoes cost more than everything I'm wearing right now. Like that kind of thing. It was clearly a scam.
Yeah.
And then we were analyzing like what it said, and because you were like, nobody would refer to their child as it. Like, like no one, with the exception of possibly the Addams Family cousin it.
That's true.
Like I assume that thing's got parents. But other than that, like, yeah, so... Yeah,
I did like that he came back around and collected them, so then you didn't have to dispose of them yourselves. But then also he didn't have to like print out a bunch.
That's what I think.
Probably.
I do not think he was being environmentally conscious. I think he was
not at all.
He was trying to save himself money on paper.
Yeah,
it was just a side effect.
Yeah, fuck that guy. I hate fake. I hate
scam artists.
It bothers me.
I fell for one. I was out southwest by like the Walmart out there. Do you know what I'm talking about? I was walking into one of the nearby stores, and this lady had a very elderly woman in her car, and she's like, "We are running out of gas. We're from out of town."
Oh, everybody.
And and she's like, "And I need to go buy her insulin because we need to pick it up." And I just thought like, okay, I think this is a scam, but if it's not, and this old lady dies, and I could have helped her like that, that's terrible.
I get that, and it's why they do it. Like, I don't understand. Obviously, this isn't visual, but I do not think that I look like I want to talk to anybody. I
could see that.
Because of the pandemic right now, my hair is a lot longer than it usually is.
Same here.
I have arched eyebrows that made me look like I'm angry all the time. And I bet like I look like Charles Manson's grandson. Seriously. And I'm about 6 foot, probably weigh about 200 pounds. Like, I'm not a small person, but crazy people want to talk to me, and everybody asks me for money. And I'm just like...
Just so funny.
I will just flat out be like, fuck you. Like, I'll do that. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I distinctly remember the Taco Bell by Jefferson, across from the stadium.
Yeah.
Some dude walks up to me, and he's like... Hey, and he walks... from a direction that, like, he didn't have a car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it was obvious. And he's like, hey, man, I ran out of gas. I go, why does everybody run out of gas in this town? I go, I have never run out of gas. I've been driving since I was 17 years old, and I have never once run out of gas. Get better at life, dude. And I just walked. Also, I was working.
Maybe it's a thing here, though, because you got Josh and Jay are from Philly, near Philly.
It's...
But I know so many people
that gas scam everywhere you go
that have run out of gas, though. And I'm pretty sure my mom has it more than once.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying people don't run out of gas legitimately.
It happens.
The gas person scam is everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It is.
And it was also like probably the 5th time in a month that someone had asked me for money for gas too. So I was like freaked out, like because I was also doing Grubhub. I was working, and I'm like,
leave me alone.
Like read the fucking room, dude.
Seriously,
I'm in a hurry. Come on.
Yeah. Like a month after that happened to me, a different person asked me the exact same thing in like a parking lot nearby there, and I was like, oh, son of a bitch, that was me.
It's like they get together and they're like, it works if you say this to them.
Yeah.
And then pass it along.
Yeah. I've yelled at people before. Like literally yelled at a dude outside of a Wawa, which is a convenience store in the Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
Because he was asking for money for food. And I went, well, I don't have any cash on me, but if you need some food, like, I'll get you a sandwich, because they sell sandwiches.
Yeah.
And he was like, he kept saying, I just need money for food. He kept repeating that. And I'm like, I'm going to buy you food if you tell me something you want. Yeah. And I freaked out and went, you know what? Had you said I need money for drugs, I probably would have given it to you.
Podcast got dark.
I said
It just got really
Yeah, I
dark.
said it a lot
Dark.
louder than that. I screamed at him.
We abandoned the
That
song.
would
and
be
now we're
frustrating, though.
just
I would probably
yelling at homeless
like lose
people.
my patience too.
Jobless.
I know it's crazy because sometimes you see. I mean, sometimes there are people that have like some sort of crisis come up, and then sometimes you see those people like get into a really nice car, and that's why
There are people that
You
do
don't trust
that
a lot of
instead of
people.
work.
Yeah.
And they make like $40,000 a year. That's a real thing, at
Yeah.
least in Philly. That like they had to start
probably
closing down. They had to start like there was a park in Philly. The name is escaping me. Where like a lot of music students, there was a college in the area, would go and busk, but they had to stop it. They had to stop everybody because there were so many other people just begging for money
yeah.
that they had to just like be like, sorry, no
Sorry,
one
nobody
can do it now.
That kind of sucks.
Ruined.
For everybody. Okay, back to the lyrics. Expert, texpert, choking smokers. Don't you think the Joker laughs at you? Ho, 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 he, ha, ha, ha. See how they smile like pigs in a sty. See how they snide. I'm crying.
It's also weird. Pigs are a theme.
He's
with-
making a
Yeah.
lot of reference to earlier
there's
lyrics. yeah.
Also, on the White Album, there's
The piggies.
yeah,
Here are the little piggies.
yeah.
It doesn't go like that, but
It goes well. You don't want to get a copyright hit,
that's true.
so we'll use that as the reason.
That's what I
it
was
wasn't
worried
the
about.
I mean, texpert's not a word, so again, it just seems like these words fit the rhythm of the melody
Yeah.
that I want to sing. But if texpert were a word, I would assume it would be like an English major or professor, probably.
Yeah.
They're a texpert.
And then maybe those distinguished
Or an
men
expert in
are
Texas. 'Cause
choking
there's no- 'cause
smokers.
there's no T.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think
true.
he's making a Texas reference.
I
but
don't either,
I don't
but
either.
you
we
never
don't know
know.
that.
But, I mean, choking smokers. Don't you think the Joker laughs at you? I mean, here's the question. Is he talking to the choking smokers there, or is he talking to the listener? It's not 100% clear.
It isn't.
I always assumed he was talking to
the
the
listener?
smokers.
Oh.
No, to the smokers. I always just assumed that. But
Yeah.
also-
See, I kind of thought that he was talking to us about them, like,
he could be.
texpert, choking smokers, kind of
Yeah.
making fun of those people.
All right. What we really need to do is after this, we need either a Ouija board or
Yes.
we need to perform a seance and just ask the dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, man.
We already have
the
the
fuck's
Prince
up with
and
that?
Stevie Nicks scent candles that I own to use in the seance.
Yeah, we have the perfect candles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then see how they smile like pigs in a sty. It kind of reminded me of that saying, like, happy as a pig in shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And see how they snide. Am I wrong, or does the word snide not make sense there? Exactly.
It doesn't really-
It's not a verb.
Josh, what do you
Isn't
think?
it more of an adjective, like a snide comment?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he just threw it in there because it
fit.
worked phonetically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the word I've been trying to
Rhyme.
think of this entire time.
Yeah.
Phonetically.
Okay,
Thank
Semolina.
you. Also, you're fired.
Next,
And with good cause.
I'm keeping the Simpsons deep cuts.
Yes.
Good for you.
That was
Okay.
a deep, yeah.
next section, Semolina Pilchard, climbing up the Eiffel Tower, elementary penguin singing to Hare Krishna. Man, you should have seen them kicking Edgar Allan Poe.
Now we're getting deep.
Yep.
You mess
Or
with
we're
Edgar
getting
Allan
weird.
Poe.
Yeah, I mean,
Plus, like, he was just found, like, beaten, or he was found, like, dead in the street or almost dead, wasn't he?
no, he was found on a park bench in someone else's clothes, and he kept repeating the name Reynolds.
Was he beaten up, too, or
No,
did I make that up?
No, they don't really. Well, he might have been a little bit, but like
Yeah.
Edgar Allan Poe was another one of those. Like, God knows what he had gotten into
Yeah.
because he was an opium addict and a drunk. Like, but my old roommate was obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe. And so I know that he repeated the name Reynolds was all he would say when they found him. And then one of the theories is he actually died of rabies. And that the
dang.
reason actually it's really
Say
it's really
what?
prescient because one of the theories as to why he was wearing like clothes that didn't fit him was that he got like he might have gotten drunk
Yeah.
And there used to be a thing that they used to do back in the day for elections where they would just like have someone go vote and then like grab them and like dress them up as someone else and have
Yeah.
them go vote again.
Yeah.
And they think that like that might be what happened.
Here, Rummy,
dang.
go in there.
Kinda.
We'll give you more
Yeah.
opium if you vote for
Yeah,
whoever.
like he
Could
might
have been.
He might have died of rabies, which
Yeah.
again, how did you how did you get rabies? Like what were you doing?
He was bit by a rabid bat.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
but
Quoth the raven, nevermore.
yeah, James Earl Jones. Anyone who watches this, who's a big Simpsons fan, is going to find some of this really funny. Anyone who
Yeah.
isn't is
It's
going to
just
have
not
no
gonna get it.
Weird.
clue what's happening.
The Semolina Pilchard part, Patty Boyd, who was married to George Harrison, said that it refers to Sergeant Pilcher of the London Drug Squad, who launched a campaign against British rock stars. And then
Okay.
the part where he's saying Elementary Penguin singing Hare Krishna, that is talking about poet Allen Ginsberg. And it's supposed to mean that it's naive to just go around chanting Hare Krishna or putting all of your faith in one idol.
Did John Lennon say that specific?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, the first part about the Sergeant Pilchard is about, or that was Patty Boyd that was quoted there.
I would have loved. Is she still alive?
I don't know.
Because I would like to meet her because she had two of the greatest songs written in the 60s written
That's
about
true.
her by two different people.
Yeah. And there's so
Clapton
much
and-
Well,
more
actually,
about that
George.
story, too, about how
Actually-
she ended up with
Actually,
Clapton.
Clapton's two best songs are written, in my opinion, are written about her.
Yeah.
Layla and Bell Bottom Blues, which...
I'll give you
Oh, I
that.
thought Wonderful Tonight, too.
Oh, it might have been.
Yeah.
That might be it. Was that after they were together?
I think that was while she was still
Wasn't
married
that written in the
to
80s or
George.
70s.
late 70s?
Dude, it made a weird resurgence on the
Maybe that's
radio.
92, yeah.
Yes, it did. And I always thought, I didn't understand when I was younger that wasn't a new song because it had like a
Yeah.
weird, yeah.
I remember that because like one of
Super
my
popular
sister's
wedding hit.
boyfriends
I'm
like
pretty sure it was,
walked
like, mid
to
to
the
late
house in the snow
70s.
to like give her a Clapton album because she was obsessed with that song
Which
in
one?
the 90s.
Wonderful Tonight?
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
probably around 92.
See, I thought that was early 80s, but I think Jay's right. I think it's 70s.
I think it might be on like
I
that
think you're right.
Journeyman album.
How long was she married to George Harrison? Do you guys know that?
I
don't know off the top of my
don't
head.
know.
And I don't know
I
when
don't
she
know.
married Clapton either.
I don't know.
But I think that was written while she was still with Harrison,
Yes.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that I don't know. I just know that Bell Bottom Blues is in my opinion Clapton's most underappreciated
Derek and the Dominoes,
song.
baby.
Yeah,
Best album.
it is his best album.
Yeah.
It really,
Yeah.
yeah, and also fuck the acoustic version of Layla. I saw Clapton play with Steve Winwood, and realized why Clapton's bands never worked because they were on stage together the entire time, and they would switch back and forth. They'd play a Steve Winwood song, and then they play a Clapton song, and during every single Steve Winwood song, when there was a moment for a guitar fill, Eric Clapton played 8 notes that didn't need to be there. He
Yeah.
overplayed so hard, and then his songs, it was like all perfect.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you're a
real
giant
tight.
asshole.
Great.
And they played the acoustic version of Layla. and I
Can't share the
immediately left.
stage, you know.
Yeah. Right, next, Umpa Umpa, stick it up your jumper.
Bah.
And then it says Juba Juba. And then it just says that repeatedly. And then until everybody's got one. And then it just says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times.
So, I mean, who kn- like that? Stick it up your jumper sounds like an insult, like
Stick
up
up your
yours.
butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jumper.
Stick it up your ass.
Isn't a jumper like clothing? Like
Yeah, I think that's what
women's
they-
clothing.
I don't, well,
Is it
okay,
women's or is it
here,
like a young
Well,
person,
here it's
child?
women's clothing.
yes, there, I think, isn't that what they call their sweaters?
Possibly, yes.
I think it's what they
Oh,
call,
okay.
That
I think they
might-
call their
that
sweaters a
sounds
jumper.
right. Yeah. 'cause,
And
like,
we
sneakers
call,
are trainers.
like, it's like a shirt and skirt combined, or
Yeah,
it
like-
could be, I think
like-
it might be,
They look. It's like
yeah, that is what
overall
it is.
type things for women that aren't overalls is what I understand
Well,
jumpers
or-
to be.
That's what we wore
Yeah.
at Catholic schools. Like before you were old enough to wear like a skirt and a
Yeah,
like a button-up shirt, you wore your jumper. Like a young
Yeah.
girl would wear a jumper.
Yeah. So, and everybody's got one. And he could be talking about opinions
I
or
believe
assholes.
it's a sweater.
Who knows?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because I
believe that's
from
just a term
movies
for a
and
sweater,
stuff.
yeah.
And The funny thing, I don't know if you guys ever heard this when you were younger, but people used to think that this part where they say everybody's got one, people used to think that they were saying everybody smoke pot over and over again.
I never got that from that, but
yeah, I remember seeing it on
Again, it's them trying to
like a
pin
video or
stuff
something.
on
that
isn't there. Like that song Louie Louie being banned because someone in the United States, because some senator or something
misinterpreted the song.
Literally made up lyrics.
yeah.
And we're going to talk about that
didn't the
next.
guy not even know what the
that's
lyrics
actually
were?
like the next topic that I was going to
Oh.
suggest. So that's also weird.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah, next episode.
is it a full moon?
I know.
Because I needed to lock myself in the basement if it is. Don't ask. I can't wake up covered in blood again. That isn't mine. It's bad enough when it is mine.
You're just incriminating yourself, man.
Then the rest of the song, I'm going to just read like the next two sections. It's slave, thou hast slain me, villain, take my purse, if I ever bury my body, the letters which thou findest about me to Edmund, Earl of Gloucestershire. Is that? I think that I probably just wrote that.
Gloucester, yeah.
Seek him out upon the British party. O untimely death, I know thee well. O serviceable villain, as duteous to the vices as thy mistress, as badness would desire. What is he dead? Sit you down, father, rest you. I mean, I know you guys were thinking, like, why isn't she a Shakespearean actress?
I was.
Yeah, everybody was.
Yeah.
But that's all. Well, I'll let you guys.
It's Gloucester.
That or Gloucestershire. I think it's
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand English. I
Yeah.
really don't. Because we speak American. I don't understand why
The
more
Queen's
people-
English.
Yeah,
right?
it is the Queen's English. What is that? Inglourious Bastards. If you don't mind, I'll go out speaking the Queen's when he gets caught in that basement because he does the wrong three. Who is that? Michael Fassbender?
Was it
Yeah, I
Fassbender?
think-
Yes.
I think it was because,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So this is what, King Lear?
Yeah. And it was just the part that I spoke about earlier
Right.
where Lennon just turned on the radio and it was the BBC production of King Lear that was playing. So they like ended the song with that.
And that's why, isn't that one of the reasons, like, because this is one of the songs that they reference to the whole Paul is dead thing.
Kind of, yeah, it was, I don't know, because that would have been 65 that they think that Paul died. Was it 64 or 65?
When did Sgt. Pepper come out?
It was Sgt. Pepper was released like right
65.
before Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah.
Because this was in 67.
Well, because I know it had.
Or
The only reason I
66
said
then,
the
yeah.
only reason I said that is because it would have. I believe it was supposed to have taken place before Sgt. Pepper happened because like Lovely Rita is supposed to be a reference to something. And
Well, the funny thing is, this whole thing was started before Sgt. Pepper, then Sgt. Pepper came out, and then they finished it. So a lot of it, it all came out in 67. And
Right,
then
the White Album was 68.
Yeah, and
Which, yeah.
this was actually nominated, this album was nominated for a Grammy in, I think it was 1969 or 1968. I remember thinking that it was I think it's 69 because I remember thinking like that's kind of, it's weird that it was,
a couple years
a couple
later.
years after. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure that's 1969 Grammy.
That is weird. That's an odd thing that I never really thought about until you just mentioned that. Like, did the Beatles win a lot of Grammys?
I
In
don't
theory,
know.
they
The funny thing
should
is I
have won like all of
Everything.
them for
All of
every
them,
album they ever released. Like,
Yeah.
Would have been a boring award ceremony, right?
well, yeah. I got to vote for the Grammys once, sort of.
Really?
Yeah, when I was in college, one of my music professors was eligible to vote for the Grammys. I forget what you have to do. It's like you have to produce or play on like a certain number of albums.
Yeah.
Or write or whatever, and he qualified for that. And he literally said this. He went, just to prove how big a joke the Grammys are, I'm going to let you guys decide what I vote for.
Right.
And Best New Artist, he goes, okay, whose career do you want to kill? He goes, because everybody who wins Best New Artist, their career
Done.
dies. And we tried to kill Papa Roach's career.
That was a good choice.
It was.
Yeah.
But I think, was that the year Shelby Lynn won? And it was like she won Best New Artist. And it was like her 10th album.
Oh.
Or something like that.
Yeah, they're a little loose with their
Yeah.
category.
Yeah, that's why it's a joke. Because like it's
I
Best
know.
New Artist that everybody's heard of now.
Yeah.
Right,
You know,
on the
like,
radio.
Doesn't matter that you've been doing this for a decade.
I like how I Am the Walrus came out as a B-side. Like
I know.
the best, like one of the best songs ever. And it's a B-side. We'll throw it in the back
There's
of this
so
other
many
one.
songs that are like that.
And I know it was a strange song. They couldn't be like, oh, this is a single.
Yeah, but Hello
Yeah.
Goodbye is a little strange too.
Yeah, but
And-
this is intentionally strange and like
but
very
also,
strange.
I wonder if they did it because of the lyrics. Because like the BBC
Probably.
banned it for
Right, so they're not going
they
to put
knew
it out
it
as a
might not be
single.
radio
But
friendly.
also, Bill Maher, of all people, I think it was, I was watching comedians in cars getting coffee, or so,
Mm-hmm.
and he posited a theory about why John Lennon wanted to leave the Beatles that I've never heard anyone say,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't done the legwork to like know if he's right, but it sounds plausible. He said he thinks that John Lennon wanted out of the Beatles because if everything's true about him and McCartney being competitive, if they were having a contest, he was losing.
Yeah.
Because Paul's songs more often got the A side on the single than
Yeah.
his did, and that's why he wanted to leave. And I was like, that's an interesting
It is a-
thought.
Yeah, but then didn't those tapes resurface very recently? There was a meeting with a band and the band manager or whatever, and they proved that John Lennon and George Harrison were down to make another Beatles album after Abbey Road.
Oh, I don't know.
There was like audio tapes that came out recently.
oh.
Well, because there's also the thing like there's also like the whole manager thing. Like Paul kind of wanted out too
Yeah.
because he didn't trust that
Yeah.
his last name was Klein, Alan Klein, I want to say. He was like a guy that worked with the Stones, and he was a shady motherfucker basically. But the
I
problem,
feel like we talked about him on
the-
our Sam Cooke episode, maybe, or someone.
maybe he was like a huge deal in the music industry
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
time, but he was like shady as fuck apparently, and
Like ripped off his artists.
and no one wanted, and Paul didn't want to work with him because I think Mick Jagger or someone had kind of give him like a veiled warning about
Heads
the
up.
guy.
Yeah.
But the problem was Paul kept wanting George Eastman, who would have been his father-in-law or future father-in-law at that
Yeah.
point. And no one liked that idea for obvious
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
reasons.
probably
don't
not
mix
good.
family and
Yeah.
business and
So-
this and that. Yeah.
Also, who knows? Because I can't wait for that Peter Jackson version of the Let It Be footage to come out. Because
Oh, yeah.
I own the original
We
Let It
watched
Be.
it. It's great.
It's great, but it gives you the impression that they hated each other. Like
The way they edited it, I guess.
Exactly.
You could edit it to make they're
Exactly.
like fighting in the studio and
there's
arguing.
a scene where they're playing, I don't remember what song they're rehearsing, but they're rehearsing a song, and John and Paul are like singing on the same microphone and they're smiling, and then they cut to Yoko, and then they cut back to John, and it looks like he looks at her. But now I think about it, you might not really have any idea what he was looking at.
Yeah, it's
and then all of a
probably
They could have
sudden,
spliced that in there, man.
exactly, he looks different. Like he looks like he like backs away from the mic and like looks like he's like mad all of a sudden. It's
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, maybe she did break them up because I was like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That she is the reason. Like it's just silly.
Yeah.
Like they're not. I don't see someone who wants to continue in a band that's that successful just not doing it because of some woman. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't. It's not a realistic thing.
I agree
But-
with that.
If anything, it would have been two women. It would have been Linda and Yoko
Yeah. I could see that.
because they started to grow apart that way.
They
That
did.
makes more sense. But just blaming Yoko. Granted, her music, when she sings, it sounds like someone's murdering a cat in an alley.
It does.
So I understand wanting to blame her.
Just made me think of that Bare Naked Lady song. I think it's called
That's
like
what it
Sing
sounds
Like Yoko
like.
Ono
Yeah,
or
where she's
something.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's just like, oh, cat abortion. All right, that's weird. Like, what do you...
That's what that sounds like.
Yeah.
Two crazy things that I have to mention. Okay, what the fuck is Ringo in that video? Because you can tell that George is supposed to be a bunny and that... Or was he the bunny or was Paul? No, okay, yeah, George is the bunny. Paul is
Which
maybe a
makes
hippo.
total sense.
And then
George is a bunny.
Do we have a picture
Sorry.
of
See
that,
that.
though, is the question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense because he's
And
very
then-
bunny-like.
I can't tell what he's supposed to be. Maybe like some sort of bird or maybe a chicken.
In what picture? On the cover?
Well, it's in the video for I Am the Walrus.
Okay.
And then I think it's on the cover as well. And then John
is
is
it-
wearing
is
like
it-
a cool tunic that's like psychedelic, and then he's wearing like the bald cap is the Eggman.
Yeah.
I'll find. I
The
think I might.
Eggman.
I'm trying to look.
I think I
to
have a
see
picture
so I can get a better-
saved on my phone.
Yeah, because I'm drawing a blank on what that looks like.
Okay, yeah, the green thing. I thought maybe it was a chicken.
It's the Grinch.
Well, yeah, maybe like a tropical bird, like a cockatoo.
Okay, maybe.
I say cockatoo because I'm not gonna lie, that little flail thing on the head
Yeah.
in this picture, the way it's got like weird folds in it, kind of looks like a vagina. But
It looks like a loser troglodyte.
that's not.
Can you see?
I would say some sort of bird.
Yeah, I think cockatoos are the white birds,
I don't-
though.
I
and
don't
then
know.
like
But
the
it's
blue front
it's
Amazons are like the
it-
green
it's
birds.
something like that.
Yeah,
I know
And
nothing
wouldn't you
about-
say that Paul is a hippo in that picture?
Oh, that's absolutely a hippo.
okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
There's like no question that
Do
that's a
hip-
hippo.
Yeah, and then I thought that those were horns earlier, but those are the hippo ears.
Yeah.
But then who is wearing the walrus costume there?
The fifth Beatle.
That has that
Billy
might.
Preston.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
Well, because John doesn't have his Eggman outfit on anymore, so maybe
So that would
Paul
be.
switched then, and then he's wearing the
Yeah.
hippo. But when they're all playing, it shows them all playing. Paul is wearing, yeah, because that's Paul playing guitar. Because you can see the left-handed guitarist. He's wearing the hippo. He's playing the
Yeah.
Rickenbacker. I think it's a Rickenbacker.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Rickenbacker bass. Yeah, and then John there is the walrus behind the piano,
Yeah,
which
he's the Eggman for part of the video.
and then
the
Ringo
piano.
is still I would guess like it's almost got to be a chicken, although I don't think I've ever seen a chicken with a green head,
Yeah,
but
and it
it's-
couldn't be a duck because it kind
it's-
of the color looks maybe like a duck.
Yeah, but what's the thing called on a rooster's head? I don't know what it's
I
called.
don't know what it's called.
But it looks like it has one of those.
Yeah.
Could be a green rooster.
I don't
Is it-
know. I don't
Yeah.
know if green roosters exist. They could.
They might. And then last strange thing, have you guys ever seen or heard the Jim Carrey cover of I Am the Walrus that he did in 1998?
Yes,
Okay.
it's weird.
It's weird. It's like kind of good at some points and then it's kind of annoying. And then
because
I wouldn't say he ruined it though. And I even
Yeah,
find him
'cause-
like really annoying most
because
of the time.
Jim Carrey has a pretty decent voice. Like he can sing.
He can.
but he Jim carries it up
He
at
does.
certain points. Like
Not too much though. Just a little
like
bit here
if
and
I
there.
if I'm not mistaken, the sitting in the English garden, he suddenly goes sitting in an English
does.
garden, like something like that. And it's like, why do you do
Ruined.
that?
Yeah.
Is it? Does Bono sing this in Across the Universe? It's like the worst part of the movie. So
Yeah.
I've blocked it out.
I
'Cause
have a weird disdain for
I hate
Bono.
Bono. I don't want to hate him because he's not a bad person.
No, he's not.
But I just find him so annoying.
yeah. I just don't like you two that much. Even I saw them
I
live.
like early
once.
stuff.
Yeah, I saw them live. Not two. I don't remember. 3 to 5 years ago. No, longer than 3. Probably like 4 or 5 years ago. Whenever they were touring and playing the Joshua Tree, they were playing
Yeah.
like the whole album. My friend bought tickets and could not find anybody to go with them. Literally,
That's weird. Yeah.
literally, he told me he texted a friend of his, like, and he went, so I bought you 2 tickets, and their response was on purpose, question mark. And I had told him in the beginning, I was like, try to find someone else to go. I was like, but if you can't find anyone else, I'll go. Like, and he couldn't find anybody.
That's funny.
so
I remember
went.
thinking that the most unbelievable part about Taken was when the 2 teenage girls wanted to go to a U2 concert.
Yes.
Yeah. Who wrote this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, because they would have probably picked like
Here's
a
what-
rapper or
here's
somebody.
what I will tell you though. U2 Live.
I bet they're great.
Yeah, I mean they're where they are for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of most of their music. It's
There's a lot
mostly
of songs that
because
make me angry.
I don't like how the Edge is credited as being an amazing guitar player. He's very good at what he does, and what he does is unique. But almost nothing he plays is even remotely difficult to play on the guitar. The timing is a little weird because of the delay stuff.
Yeah.
But like other than that, like he's not playing anything that's really that complicated, and I always had a problem with that.
Yeah.
It's like, but also M. Night Shyamalan walked into me because my friend didn't fuck around, and we were at, was it the Link? It was either the Lincoln Financial Field or Citizens Bank Park, either where the Eagles play in Philly or where the Phillies play. I think it was the Link. I think it's where the Eagles play.
Yeah.
And we were on the field, and M. Night Shyamalan, like some dude walks by and like bumps shoulders with me, and I turn around and go like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Wait, what the fuck? That's M. Night Shyamalan." And he's got this entourage of like his wife was with him.
Yeah.
Because I looked it up later, and she's gorgeous. And then like
he's rich.
Yeah, and then like 6 or 7 of the most beautiful Indian women anyone has ever seen in their entire life.
Yeah.
And like one dude. And I'm just like, what I found odd is like how is his wife letting him walk around with like all these ladies?
I know.
Like granted, she's there to like keep him
Maybe
in
they were
line
her
or
friends
whatever.
or family members.
Yeah, probably.
They were visiting, like, hey, let's go to
Yeah, could have been family.
Yeah, but yeah, it was funny. He bumped into me, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And then I was like, "I didn't see that coming." So even in real
Better
life,
watch it in Philly when you walk into someone at the the Link or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, an Eagles game wasn't happening.
That's true. Yeah, I'm just
So
trained.
he wasn't going to get stabbed. Not by me, at least.
Yeah. Speaking of him, I remember reading a story recently about someone that said that they were kidnapped by him, like not like really kidnapped, but like he took them from one place to another while they were like drinking. And then I can't remember who it was. Did you guys hear anything about this? And then the person thought that maybe it wasn't even him.
Yes.
Like they thought it was the wrong person, and then like they found out that
like
it
a
was.
comedian or something
I think
like that?
it was. I wish I remembered the story.
I have about the same memory of the story as you do. Like
Yeah.
something like that.
I'm going to look it up.
I remember when they were filming Signs, they filmed some of it in a suburban town that was like 10 minutes away from where they were filming Newtown. And
wow.
me and my friend Jared would go down Main Street in Newtown and yell, "Oh my God, there's Mel Gibson!" And people would go running. It was hilarious. Like no joke, like would book it. It was really funny.
Yeah, I mean, we're from Philly, so all those movies he's done, like Split or whatever, we recognize all the...
Well,
And we've been to the zoo because they have, part of that's filmed in the zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the polar bears in this.
It was Matthew Perry.
Oh.
Yeah, and he didn't kidnap him. He was just actually hanging out with him. So he thought that maybe he wasn't.
He's not a comedian, but
Really
he is
him.
a comedic actor most of the time. I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever seen him do anything dramatic.
I don't think I have either.
Also, what happened to his face?
I haven't seen does he look bad?
He looks like he had a stroke or something. Or he might not anymore. I don't know. I saw him on television or something, and it was within the past 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen him in a very long time. And like it looked like one side of his mouth didn't like work anymore. And I was like, does he have Bell's palsy? Like what the
Could
fuck's
be,
going on?
yeah.
But the thing is,
Like mini strokes or something.
everybody was acting like it wasn't no one
No one
I
acknowledged it,
saw the
yeah.
entire interview thing and it wasn't mentioned. And I was
Yeah.
like, how do you not
Yeah,
address
how is that not
that?
the
Sometimes
first
there's
thing you
actors
mentioned?
though that I know there's one guy specifically, I can't think of who it is, but he kind of talks out of like one side of his mouth.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, it
he
happens.
was into drugs and stuff and got messed up for a while, didn't he?
He did. I think he was
Maybe.
really into drinking
Maybe
too
he
for a
just-
while.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Yeah, I to this day don't know what happened, but I remember Googling and I didn't have to finish writing what I was writing. So it was
yeah.
like not just me that noticed it.
Yeah.
Friends. It wasn't a great show, but it was it wasn't. It was one of those things. Like
I'm
I
leaning
guess
towards
because
it
it was
wasn't.
just so ubiquitous.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, fuck that show. It did give us Jennifer Aniston though. I love her.
I do like her. I like Lisa Kudrow too.
Oh yeah, I like her too. I forgot about her.
I don't have a problem with Courtney Cox.
I like Friends. I think it's a good show.
I have a problem with Courtney Cox's choice to get terrible plastic surgery.
I know, it's
later
sad,
in life
'cause she's so beautiful.
Just age, lady. Just age. It almost never works.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know the people who like maybe it does work sometimes because you can't like there's someone that you're just like you don't age.
Yeah.
But a majority of the time, it looks bad.
Yeah, you just look like an ageless alien rather than like a person that looks good for their age.
Yeah, the worst one for me was
Sometimes it
Nicole
makes you look
Kidman.
older.
Like,
I know.
although something happened.
Because she's
not
like
too
fine
terrible-
now.
Yeah, like it's almost like she either got it fixed or it was like you're gonna have 8
like, things
years
dissolved.
of you're
It's settled in.
You're gonna have
finally.
8 years of swelling and then it'll look fine.
Yeah. Then you look wonderful.
Deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
But yeah, she was one of those two that you're like, you're so gorgeous. Like, why would you touch your
She
face?
like in the 90s, she was like one of the most beautiful women acting. Like,
I mean, like all through the 2000s.
That too,
Because
until-
that's when she did like Moulin Rouge. Wasn't that early 2000s?
maybe I'm
I
not.
think that
Could've
was
been-
late 90s.
It could have been late 90s. But even after that, she did that Australia movie and she did.
Oh, she looked fantastic. in almost
the one with
everything.
Jude Law, Cold Mountain.
Yeah,
And she looked wonderful there.
yeah.
I mean, now she was just on that series on HBO and she looks fantastic.
Yeah, like she either got it fixed or like I'm genuinely curious.
I know.
Like I want to know what happened.
Me too.
Because I'm like, what did you like? Why? What? And also why? Like I feel bad. That you're so insecure?
I know.
that you felt the need to do that. It makes me sad.
And she was like at probably the best looking point in her life when she started doing it. And I guess like maybe she's like, oh, I got to maintain this, but
Well, I mean, part of the problem is Hollywood, and like
I know.
once you look over a certain age, all they want you to play
It's like
is
grandma.
someone's mom or grandma.
yeah.
Like so, there's that. But yeah, boo hiss.
There's
Yes.
also the obvious fact that John Lennon wrote this song and he's singing it, and the lyrics are "I am the walrus." But the other songs, they claim Paul is the walrus.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just on a very surface level, it's confusing. You're like, is John
Josh is
the
taking us
walrus?
back.
Or
Yeah.
is Paul the walrus?
Yeah. And then we already talked about how like he purposely wanted this to be hard to interpret and
Right.
even said like, let
I
the
mean, it's
fuckers.
just nonsense.
Wasn't
but-
there a thing with John Lennon where in one of the interviews where he was talking about it, he said something about how like he didn't think about the meaning of the poem and didn't realize that the walrus was like the villain.
He did get it mixed up. Yeah.
Well, they're both but he's wrong both
they're
ways
both-
because the carpenter is also the villain. The carpenter
Yes.
the carpenter just eats them. Like he doesn't say like once the oysters get to like a certain point,
Mm-hmm.
the walrus like I think is like justifying the eating of them, and the
Yeah.
carpenter doesn't say shit. He just eats them.
Yeah. And then in like the little Alice in Wonderland cartoon, like the walrus eats all of them and like the carpenter missed his chance.
Oh yeah, but that's not what
That's not what the poem
that's not
says,
what the
yeah.
poem says. Is they both and the carpenter's like silent about it. He's just like,
Yeah.
fuck you, I'm eating you, like without saying anything.
Yeah. So I got, I had the same thought when reading it that they were both bad.
Yeah, which makes me agree with Loki.
Yeah.
Matt Damon, not Tom Hiddleston.
Thanks for clarifying.
I do like him as Loki though.
Oh yeah, it's just
Yeah,
that
just
I don't
like in
know
that.
why Kevin Smith chose Loki because I believe he was the
know.
angel of death. And he just chose to call him Loki. And I'm guessing because I don't think the angel of death has a name, like in
Okay.
the Bible or anything. I think it's just, I don't know that for a
I
fact.
don't know that for a fact,
But
but I
I
should,
don't
'cause I'm
think he
Catholic.
does. His name's definitely not Loki, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that much
We
I'm
know
sure of.
that. Yeah.
Like, his name's definitely not Loki.
Yeah. I don't know why he called him Loki.
Probably just like the name.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then who is Ben Affleck in that? Because I can't remember because it's
Bartleby.
been so long. Okay.
Which also not an angel's name.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It almost sounds like a demon name.
Yeah, well, I've often wondered if
Sounds
it was
like
a
Beelzebub.
reference to the short story Bartleby the Scrivener,
Oh, could be.
which was about a guy that worked at a dead letter office. And every time he was asked to do something, he would say, "I prefer not to." That's all all I remember about that is that, and I had to read it in some English class in high school, and the teacher hated me.
Yeah.
With good reason. Like, as I'm older, I'm on his side now.
Yeah.
I was an asshole. But he called me out in class and said the only person that understood this was me. Like, that read it and actually got what it was about. Everyone else was, like, apparently way off. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that must have stung. I like defeating authority figures. It's fun.
Yeah.
In that case, that's a good one. Yeah.
It is.
Oh, I ruined that guy's life. That's a long story, though. There was a point where he would no longer look me in the eyes because of something I said to him.
Oh.
I made him question his entire life.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, he deserved it. Well, didn't deserve it, but should have known better than to start a conversation that he started.
Yeah.
It was his fault.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Like, teachers don't get paid very much. I mean, I know that's not an excuse to be a dick. And sometimes people use that as an excuse to be a dick.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because I had a math
And they're
teacher
so
that was
important.
awesome.
yeah.
He
I
would-
had some good teachers.
But
Josh's
yeah.
mom's a teacher.
Yeah. She actually taught kindergarten.
at that school, yeah.
No, not that school, but
Oh.
the school that I went to 1st through 8th grade.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always wondered if that's why my parents didn't send me to Catholic school kindergarten, because I went to public school for kindergarten. That was
Yeah.
it. And I wonder if they didn't want to put your mom in that position of having me in her class.
They grew up next door to each other too.
Yeah.
So that's why I was laughing, because I was just
Yeah.
thinking of, like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to make it, or have it go bad with the neighbors because we're going to live next to them forever.
Yeah, kind of. Like I there's no other reasonable explanation.
Never
for
thought
it,
about that
really.
before. You're absolutely
Oh,
right.
I have multiple, obviously.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
But I think about weird shit all the time.
Same.
That's how my brain works.
Yeah. And I think that's it for this. Do you guys have anything else to say about the song?
It's a really good song.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
listened
can't-
to it twice on the way over here.
Yeah, it's a great song. I couldn't find the Magical Mystery Tour video to rent anywhere. It isn't on any of the platforms.
Yeah, I
And-
mean, I know you wanted to do research, but it's probably...
The best, or for the best.
I mean, it's like from what I remember of it, I was like, this is like someone else played me their bad trip.
Yeah.
Like made me live through it.
Which is funny because that's how I found a bunch of clips on YouTube, but they were playing like all out of order. They weren't numbered right. So it was kind of like watching.
I don't think
a
it
trip.
mattered.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a story.
And there was parts of it that I couldn't tell if it was actually part of the movie or if it was like part of the making of the movie.
They probably didn't know either.
Yeah. One cool thing though, you can find like the sessions where they were, practicing playing the songs
always
before,
interesting.
and they just had like a bunch of pictures from like the whole process running while they were showing that. And I really enjoyed watching that on YouTube.
It's always interesting to hear, especially with the Beatles, after, Sgt. Pepper. Well, I guess after which came first, Revolver or Rubber Soul? Rubber Soul?
Rubber Soul came first.
Yeah, and then Revolver. Like, I guess after that, anything after that period where they were adding all kinds of stuff, it's interesting to hear just what they played, like, as a band together before.
Oh, I agree with that,
Before all the overdubs.
Yeah. And also Beatles content. There's a really good YouTube channel called Holly Hobbs where this guy tells like a lot of stories about the different songs and just about the Beatles in general. And I went through so many of his videos. They're really good.
Is he a darker skinned fellow?
Yes.
With longer dark hair.
but like chin length.
Yeah.
And he's a musician as well, I believe.
Yeah, I believe I watched a video where he played one of his own songs at the end, and I was just like, stop it.
I enjoyed it. But
here's the thing. The reason I say stop it is because you're just trying to sound like you're the Beatles.
I did think
that's,
that
to
it
me,
did sound
pointless.
a little bit like the Beatles.
I get being because that's all I want to be. My entire goal is to be the Beatles.
Yeah.
But I don't try to do it by just imitating them to the point where it's like you're like there's a difference between being inspired by and imitating, I guess is what I'm getting at. And this guy was imitating, not being inspired by.
I thought that maybe he did that because it was like at the end of a Beatles video. So he was like, I'm going to do this song that kind of sounds like the Beatles a little bit.
That could be, but
Yeah.
I get the impression that that's just what he does, and he does not realize that he.
Yeah.
It's kind of like there's a different, like a lot of bands that I don't like because there's a difference between having a style and writing the same song over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like one of those, like, but I'm also a snob, so there's that.
But yeah, great channel. Check it out.
I think that's all we got.
Awkward
Yeah.
silences. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody have a good day, evening, morning, whenever you're listening to this.
Yeah. And if you like it, tell your friends to listen to it.
Please do.
And if you don't like it, one, why are you still hate listening? But continue to hate listen because it's a long time to sit through something you didn't like.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
But also lie to your friends about it and
Yes.
tell them you like it.
And we'll give you a
The
free
friends you
shitty
don't
pen.
like. Wait, now it's confusing. All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Force people at gunpoint, whatever you got to do.